What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but welcome back to another episode of Community Kitchen, where we're cooking up the latest and greatest gaming news headlines. And who better to join me today than Aiden? Why don't you say what's up?
Hi, everybody. I get to bash on Nintendo again.
It's Hater Week. That's what we're gonna title this, aside from Monday and Friday's video. Yeah, because those are positive. Anyway, before we get into any of the hate today, we'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you guys that are liking these videos, subscribing to Game Sandwich, and if you're new here, do the same, and join our Discord. Links to that is in the video description down below. But we have been off this topic for quite some time because it's been pretty quiet on the home front as it pertains to Palworld v Nintendo and this whole legal battle. And I want to...
Except for small things.
Yeah,
Just very small things like, an update to Palworld that they had to change things, but
yeah, little tidbits here and there. And I want to first start by saying forgive me if I get something or if I miss something, because this patent thing is very confusing, especially now, and no one's to blame but Nintendo. And you're going to ask me,
yep.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about here? Well,
What are we talking about?
Well, I will gladly tell you now. So, there's been a little problem around catching pals or animals in a ball. That's been the thing, and then also a rideable mount section of the patent. That's been the whole problem. Well, apparently Nintendo recently wanted to change their patent regarding the smooth switching of riding objects. And in Nintendo's patent update, they added far more language without changing the core technical terms used in the copyright. And what's kind of getting people confused in general is the inclusion of even when. And apparently, according to Screen Rant and some of their legal experts, and by all means, I am no legal expert, and that's Florian Mueller, who's
yeah, and I'm sure the people at Screen Rant are such legal experts.
Allegedly they are.
Allegedly they are.
This deliberate use of even could be Nintendo's attempt to make their patent even more vague. So what they're trying to do is what we said at the start of, they're trying to cast a wide net here to kind of force Palworld and Pocket Pair into submission. Aiden, I want to get your thoughts on this all and how moving the goalposts in legal battles is so much fun.
Okay, well, first of all, I do want to clarify here. Do they actually say rideable objects?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna point this out here. They consider Pokemon objects.
Hey, they're Pokemon.
They don't actually consider them animals.
We want them to be
you know
animals.
What? Nintendo, Game Freak, whatever, Pokemon, they have lives. They matter. They are not just objects for your entertainment.
Hey.
I will go off on that. You know what? If they're going to say something, it should be rideable animals or rideable mounts, not objects. But hey, whatever. Because that just implies like a huge net right there. That, like, if you say rideable object, you're talking about a car.
Yeah.
You're talking about a cube. You're talking about like whatever. You could be talking about riding around on a printer.
Hey,
doesn't matter.
They do that in the Kirby game. I think it's
exactly.
Is it a dryer? I think, or he does swallow a car.
It's like a copy printer. I don't know.
I do want to bring up this second point of the Screen Rant article. The overly long paragraph and the use of subjective terms might be getting thrown up as shields, so the judge won't try to decipher the complicated language and possibly determine the patent invalid. So, again, this is just stall tactics or smoke and mirrors where it's like, hey, we're going to use this language so you can't really nail down what we're trying to talk about here. And it just kind of looks like, yeah, we're winning here.
You know what? I'm not a legal expert by any means. I will say that, like, straight up. I am not a legal expert in the slightest, but it does sound like that. It sounds like they are trying to just throw a whole bunch of terms out there just to catch, like, the biggest net possible. Just to be like, hey, look, we can say whatever we want and it applies to this situation just because we want to come out on top because we don't like that somebody made a game that did better than what we've done in a long time. That's honestly how it feels. Like I said, I'm no legal expert, but you know what? You know what? I'm just gonna say, just in case somebody wants to pass this video around, or somebody wants to point it out, or somebody wants to contact us, maybe we'll contact them. But there are lawyers on like YouTube. There is such as like Legal Eagle or whatever. We could talk to them about this and be like, hey, what what is the tactic here? You know?
This is my problem of, all right, we've been covering this story for damn near a year now. When does it stop? When does Nintendo go, okay, and the Pokemon Company go, okay, we're done. Like, it's just been dragging. We're obviously not making any ground or any headway. And for what it's worth, it just seems like they even know that. Where it's like, we gotta try everything. And, like, how desperate are you? Like, Pokemon and Nintendo being the powerful companies and great companies that they are in gaming, it's not. I could see if they were suffering. If they were, like, on their last bit of life support, and they had Palworld walk along and steal their thunder and took everything that they did and made it better, and they're like, oh, but, like, we did it, No, like, Pokemon is the top IP in the world. Nintendo is one of the top gaming companies. They're doing great. This is just them, as they always do, swinging their weight around and saying, yeah, no, like, no one can do what we do.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. What's the thing in Disney? It's you are not allowed to sell works of art depicting any Disney character unless it's been changed by an amount equivalent to like 40 or 50% or something of the original work of art. Because if you do, then Disney will come down on you hard. It's basically the same thing as that. Disney is willing to throw their weight around at any and every single company, or even like smaller, like I don't want to say company, just like smaller individuals and stuff, just for the sake of, hey, we hold this property, we want to hold it dear, we don't want to do anything, and we don't want to do anything substantial or like adapt it in a way that's meaningful. Same thing with Nintendo. Nintendo is just extremely big. They recognize anything and everything as a threat to them, and they want to just take down anything that could prove, hey, we could have made this better, essentially. That's how I envision it. It's like, Pal World did amazing. It did a great job. The Pocket Pair, they did something that Nintendo and Game Freak haven't done in a long time, which is get people excited about the idea of catching like fictional creatures in a ball.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, all Nintendo is just like butthurt about it, and they're going, "Oh, we want to just do anything and everything we can to like knock them down a peg to just show, hey, we are the big dogs here. You can't mess with us." And in reality, all Nintendo did was just steal from the people who made Dragon Age. So, come on, fight me on that one.
Well, this is where I want to bring in more stuff from Florian Mueller, and this kind of explains the word even. So I'm going to link this all down below if you want to look at it. Gamesfray.com, this is where you're going to get it at. But even is a word that has no place in patent claims. It is too empathetic and subjective. Patent claims have the purpose of describing how certain means are used to achieve a particular end, and to do so in any way that at least those who know a thing or two about patent law will have an idea of what patents cover. The name of the game is the claim. The claims each patent can have, and usually does have, multiple claims define the scope. It's almost a Hail Mary, a desperate attempt to win by doing something odd. And they go on to say the judge is kind of very experienced in patent law, so he can't be gaslighted by a strange claim in language. So, again, it's like you're going against a judge who knows what they're doing, at least from what we've been told here. Why? Like, again, at some point, it's like you're just chasing your tail again and again and again. Also, from what I've understood, at least in covering this story, Palworld has changed a lot. Like, if I'm not mistaken, like they've changed some of their core things of the game to kind of dance around this. Like,
Yeah, they changed the catching mechanic.
yeah, like at that point, it
For
should have been
starters,
done.
they also changed the riding mechanic, the two things that, Nintendo said that they cared about.
Yeah, but
But, you change those, you change the things that Nintendo says, hey, these are the things that we care about and we're coming at you about. And then Nintendo still continues to go after you. At that point, it is not about those mechanics. It is about you making something that they could have made in the long term, but ultimately have decided not to, and instead stuck with stupid gimmicks over the years.
well, this is where I'm going to ask you a closing question. The core mainline games, like I'm talking Scarlet and Violet. Oh, not really Scarlet and Violet. I'm going to say like the classic Pokemon series. Let's just say they never released the Legends series and they never found
Yeah.
success there. Do you think Nintendo would be going after Palworld this hard? Because,
Yes.
like, really?
Absolutely. Yes.
Really?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I don't think that Nintendo has anything better to do because they certainly don't want to revolutionize the Pokemon series. They don't at all. They tried to a little bit with Legends Arceus, but if we take that out, if we just remove that game and we remove Legends ZA or whatever, like those don't exist. You just talked about the main lines. They haven't done anything substantial with it. All they did was go, okay, we moved Pokemon that was already technically open world to making it open world, but in a 3D space. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you didn't revolutionize anything. You didn't change anything. And the only thing they've done over the years with this is go, okay, here's a new environment. Here's a new gimmick. That's it. That's
Yeah.
all they've done is it's back and forth. They haven't changed they haven't changed the combat mechanics. They haven't made it anything like anybody would want it to be. Now that they, I guess, technically are with Legends EA, if you take that into account, they actually are doing the whole, oh, you can run around and actually, control your Pokemon and everything,
Yeah.
which that would be great in a mainline game. It wouldn't. I bet you people would love that in a mainline game. Guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be the gimmick in a mainline game that they go for. But they choose to do stupid gimmicks like, oh, we're going to make our Pokemon crystal, or we're going to make them giant, or next we're going to turn them into wood, or
Hey,
who knows? Next it's going to be Micromon or something. Like, they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to shrink,
I'm gonna clip.
instead of.
I'm gonna clip this. So whenever the
Okay.
next Pokemon game comes out, and it is that they just turn tiny or they turn into like a piece of wood,
Yeah.
you heard it here first. That's all I'm gonna
I
say.
mean, there's a million gimmicks that they could do. They could just be like, instead of being like, okay, they should have just stopped at Mega Evolution. They should have.
That was really good.
And instead, now we have like, crystal Pokemon, giant Pokemon, this, that, whatever. We don't need that.
Yeah.
We just need something to change the core mechanics of the game. The only thing that they've added that was substantial that I actually kind of enjoyed is the raid aspect.
Yeah.
Like the raid thing was actually kind of interesting.
That was a
But
fun
that's it.
part, but yeah, how far can that
And
go?
like they acted like the whole like, oh, the wild zone or whatever is like such a new revolutionary thing. No, it wasn't. It's just a safari zone. They just decided to call it wild zone.
Wild. It's so wild out here. But yeah, no, I'm very interested to see where this story goes next because, quite frankly, I think we've hit like a little bit of a roadblock. Like, I think there really isn't much to kind of like do like as far as legal stuff
Yeah.
goes. I mean, obviously Nintendo can nitpick and find new ways to kind of beat them into submission, which is what they're doing. But it looks like so far Pocket Pair is lasting up until this point, so time
Yeah.
will only tell with that stuff. So, do you have any
And I mean,
final
you know what?
thoughts?
Good on Nintendo for like giving Palworld all this publicity for free because,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you could have just left it and like Palworld would have like dissipated and become smaller over time probably. But you, Nintendo, have made it so much bigger because of your petty BS.
It's huge. It's huge. The biggest. The biggest. But yeah, no, we'll obviously do another video if something changes, which at this point, I honestly don't think so, but I'm no legal expert, remember that. But if you want more video game content just like this, drop a like on this video, subscribe to Game Sandwich for more content, and hey, if you're new here and you want to talk more about your favorite video games with like-minded people, join our Discord. Links to that is in the video description down below. But as of right now, I've been Kalo, joined by Aiden, and we'll see you guys next time.
Mark my words, this doesn't end till Palworld's dead.
If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.